life and all that, and all in betweens, and that comes to mind. In case of you want to share your memories, comment down below and let's get to it. For me, my memories, in my memory serves me correctly, I joined high school in the year 2006. Yeah, 2006 February, or 6th of February. And I remember it fondly because I joined the school on a Tuesday, and it was an all-girls school, boarding, and that's common here in Kenya because of it's actually an achievement to get a calling letter from a boarding school that also performs well during our national exams and is ranked as a high performer. And we had back then, before devolution happened, we had provincial school, we had the national school, which were the highest uh, ranking schools, and then we had provisional, and then district, and then location. Below district was, after district was division and then location. And most of the locations and division, most of them were day schools and they were mixed. So the first, actually, my calling letter came from, was it a provincial? The first, after my performance, after my class 8 exams, I got a calling letter from a school in Langata in Nairobi, then Nairobi province, which was also which is now Nairobi County. But it was a mixed school and a day school, and it was performing well. It had high ranks of performance, even though it was a day school. It was Langata High. But right now, currently, it's boys. It's only boys boarding. It became a boarding school, and only catering to the boy child. Anyway, so that calling letter came. Uh, my parents were not comfortable for me to go to a day school, especially in Nairobi area. The fear that they might find me, I guess most of, like back then, before my parents separated, uh, they had, okay, my father had the notion that I was an extrovert and very outgoing, even though that wasn't me, and still it's not me. Uh, and my mom was comfortable it to be a school that's closer to home and boarding, because that time finances were an issue. So a class that was closer to home, it will help for her. Any chance she gets a little funds, she can come to the school and pay it, and it will not strain. Uh, at least communications will be easier. So they started looking outside school. My father found a school that was in Machakos. Was it Machakos? Machakos County, which was under Eastern Province. And the calling letter came. The requirements were skettish because they said 1 centimeter of hair above the head. If you look at my hair, it's long. I only, in my life, I've shaved once. So I was not comfortable with that. And then also some other things that you need to wear petticoats. I'm not, my mom had tried to get me to wear petticoats and I never took a liking to them. So no. And besides, the distance also was an issue. And and the location also, it is located at a hot, hot, sometimes arid place, sometimes just hot, and I'm not used to hot weather. So yeah, But the hair issue was actually my number one. Like I showed my mom, I'm not going to this school because of I'm not shaving my hair. And my dad was like, is it the hair that is studying or you? And I asked him, I'm also quick with my responses. I asked him, is it my boldness that is studying or me? So he was like, okay, since you have refused my option, you go look for your own uh, and bring it to the table. So my mom was asked me if I was comfortable to study from where she also studied high school. I was like, no, because the school also is a good performing school, which was in Nyandarua County now, currently. There's one in Nyandarua County and there's another in Laikipia County. So I said, at least it's close to my grandmother's place. So that I'll feel more at home with people who are king. Now, so at long last, my mom, since there's a time she worked at the school administration in a local school, uh, she consulted one of the teachers, and she was told to apply, and she applied, and I got a calling letter. It was a provincial law school here in Kajiado. Right now it's a county school, so yeah, good performance. It used to be a mixed school, and then it became an all girls school, and still during the time it was mixed, it was boarding, so it was never a day school. So went there, got the calling letter, we bought the few items that we were required to buy. My mom got, with the support of our siblings and family members, the school fees to pay for the first time. And back then, education was free, tuition was free. So the only thing we were paying for was boarding fees, and food was catered by the government, except now, and the extra curriculum activities, that was on the parents and the boarding. Good days. Nowadays, woof, I see the fee structure with my sisters. She's in high school, and it's wow, it's a lot. So went to high school, joined high school on February 6th, 2006. Yeah, it was on a Tuesday. And I was welcomed well, didn't experience bullying. Well, because for most people at my age, I'm tall. I was tall, still I am, and had a serious face. Only you guys see me smiling quite often. So yeah, when I'm very stoic, um, it actually intimidates a lot of people, and I'm also aggressive. So the dorm I was assigned to, actually I assigned myself. Yeah, looking back, like the matron was supposed to assign me dorm, but during when I was being um, admitted, a familiar face walked by, and she was informed for. Turns out she was the head girl back then, and she's a cousin to a family friend, so I knew her from way back. So when we were familiar, she was the one who helped me to take me to where I'm supposed to go, like where to pick up the uniform, and also how to arrange my box. So immediately I was like, yeah, I'm going to your cube, your dorm, and your cube. Found out my cube was very unique because it was supposed to have one form 4, one form 3, one form 2, and one form 1. But our cube was unique in that it had 2 form 4s, one form 3, and I was the form 1. And the form 3 was known to be a bully. But now she passed on after high school for some time. But we ended up being friends. We hung out a lot. So even my classmates were like, how are you interacting, and she bullies everyone, but you, she has never bullied you. I'm like, she conf she confided in me that once she had their cube was getting a form one, she came to our cube to check out the form one and found me. Back then I used to wear spectacles. She found me there as I was uh, listening to the instructions the head girl was giving, and she saw me. She came. She was aggressive at first, but I looked her straight in her eyes, and she was like, "Ooh, this one looks like the wrong number to start up issues with." So she didn't pursue. So I think for a whole month she kept observing how I interact with the rest of the group of the school, because every time we were meeting the cube, our cube was like the center of attraction. There's some people I had known from youth retreats who danced. So they will come, we'll share talks, and then, oh, our cubes didn't have like full walls to the roof, to the ceiling. So it was half walls, so you can hear in our dorm used to be the males dorm when the school was a mixed school. So that's how my first day and weeks came out. The first I that week I just got to school. I got to be I was one, actually the only form one who was given permission to go to a function. Used to call them funkies. A function was like an event organized by schools that invites different schools to come to their school and socialize, be it if it was church themed, which we had two types. We had the Protestants who had CU, Christian Union, and then we had the Catholics who had YCS, Youth Catholic. The S was for what? No, the chairperson. S, I think school for schools. Yeah, Youth Catholics for schools. And there was also debate clubs. You'll have schools having debates again. Then we had symposiums also were depending on the subjects that arranged them. We had math symposium where we had competition between schools to see who's the math whiz. We had business symposium. Then we had science congress. Science congress now was generally about invention. Still, it's still carried out up to date, and you can even go to national levels. You can go to uh, African levels. Sometimes they even go worldwide. So yeah, it's a big deal. And actually, there's no function I missed. We were also having musicals. Uh, mm, we had music. That one I didn't go because we didn't participate our school. Then we had games. We also had drama. Drama I did. Actually, that's when I was suspended for drinking. But yeah, it was like a lot at the same time. I had fun in Form 1. I went to YCS. I went to uh, the symposiums. I did science congress. Drama, drama did I? No, drama was skeptical about it. My mom wasn't for it. Again, I proved that point later on when I got suspended. But I also, looking back, I was trying to do mechanic. What's the word? I was trying to cope because the drama, family drama, and all that. Because after Form 1, that's when the the December holidays. That's when separation happened between my parents. So, and then in Form 2, my mom was like, I understand you because of the, she calls it regime of the womb. because of hormones. That's when now you want to act like you're the adult and you're just mad at the world sometimes, and you're just all over the place. So I coped. In Form 1, something interesting happened. Our class, we had, in the history of our school, we had, for the first time, class teachers who are male teachers for both our classes. We had two streams, we had East and West. So both class teachers were men, and they pushed for our rights. I liked how they listened to their students. They also understood how we were, like each student in their classes. Um, our class teacher was the physics teacher of the whole school, and then the class teacher to East Stream was a math teacher among two. There were only two math teachers, and both of them were male, but he was not the one who taught us maths. It had a competition. um, they pushed for us to have a baby's day out, like from once to know Nairobi, since that our class was the first one to have majorly students from all over Kenya plus outside Kenya, because we also had two Rwandese students, we also had Tanzanian students, and for us, but Tanzanian students was not something unique, because some of the students in Form 4 and Form 3 and Form 2 came from were from Tanzania, but mostly they had like high population of the students were from the Kajiado interior areas, and others from much interior areas from the Rift Valley province. But our class was the first one which incorporated all over Kenya. We had students from Mombasa, we had students from Tala, we had students from Central, Nairobi, Machakos. Did we have? The only place that I think we didn't have is the northern side of Kenya. Oh, we did have one from Turukana. Oh, I had forgotten that one. Anyway, so they say they decided to make a trip for us to know the whereabouts of Nairobi, and also go to visit the parliament chambers. It was funny when we went to that trip. Little did we know there was a strike being organized, uh, a revolution in school that was being organized, and one of our classmates was sent to buy Matchbox. Hey, I was, from what I know, it was organized for some time, and they found the opportunity when we were going for our baby's day trip. So first time we were doing introductions to all the subjects and incorporation to the system of the school. So second term was when the trip was happening. So when we closed down school for the first term, a break, that's when we were given the newsletter to take to our parents to ask for the money for the trip. We went to Nairobi, Uhuru Park, before now the refurbished one. We went to the parliament. Then we went to Nairobi Animal Orphanage. Which one was first? Yeah, and then so we went back to school. So one of us was sent to buy, and that trip happened on a Friday, because after the trip, the next day was Saturday. We were just recovering from the trip. And I remember when we were doing general cleaning, because every Saturday we had general cleaning. And I was just chilling with some of the Form 4s and Form 3s, and they told us, you never know what will happen today, so dress well. I was already warned, but I didn't understand why they're warning. And then there was also that time there was a lot of raging strikes all over the country. Students complaining that the administration in their schools are strict. So it was like a wave that was going around the country about striking. Uh, Mind you, Saturdays we had entertainment. I was I was known for dancing in school, and yeah, and very chilled. So that Saturday we were watching a movie. The plan was to the electricity, one of the members among the people who are striking, to switch off the lights from the main switch, and then they stone all the glass, the windows, and also it went to, the plan was so sinister because they were also planning to kill some teachers. We later on found out this was, these are the details I later on found out after it happened. So while going to the entertainment, there was a place I used to sit with the Form 3s and Form 4s. When I was going to sit there, I was chased out of that place with some of the Form 3s. So I later on found out that the ringleaders mostly were the Form 3s. And they had poured stone below their tables. So they didn't want any other person to know what they are doing there. So I opted to go and sit where my fellow Form 1s sat, at the stairwell of the dining hall, as we watched the television. So that when you plan, the universe and God laugh. Instead of them to switch off the main switch, guess what happened? There was a blackout. So for those people who didn't realize it's not the way they had planned, they started throwing stones then and then. And where I was seated, I was just holding my head like this because now I'm on the stairwell, sitting facing this way, and the television is behind me. So I'm turning my head. So once they started throwing stones towards the window panes, and people started, the people who were startled started screaming. I had somebody just jump over my head. And where the television set was, on the sides were windows, so you can jump, and it's on a higher ground because that's the stage area. The dining hall also was used as a meeting hall, and the setup for performance and all that. So we had the raised podium, and also now where we sat. So people screams, and I'm like, when I looked towards the students, so like facing them, the hall now. I'm seeing just body figures throwing stones, and then I saw lights. You see, when blackout happens and when lights come back, it comes back like there's a wave of light, like from where it's coming from. Some of them were found on the red-handed, just about to throw the stone, so you had to drop the stone. And one of when this happened, one thing, what was the plan? The plan was, the lights were switched off, they start doing throwing stones, and that time, uh, for the weirdest thing, our deputy principal hadn't gone home yet. He was also one among the teachers who were supposed to be killed. And our principal, who lives in the school compound, in her own bungalow house next to one of the dorms, she was supposed to be taken out. The head girl, who was my dorm's mother, was also supposed to be taken out. Um, so when the switch, and some of the prefects, so when they thought the light was switched, one was supposed to, actually, was it one or two? two of them were supposed to get that as a signal. They would run off towards the main gate, the school gate, uh, escape the school, go buy fuel. They had actually jerry cans on the and they were on the run to go and buy gasoline to come and pour and now burn up the school. And as they were running, some of them were supposed to go and attack the watchman who was in charge on the gates, night guard. Hey, I also wondered, to reach that point that you think of killing someone and not thinking about the repercussions, like what will happen to their family? Maybe they are the breadwinner. Uh, what will happen to you if you are caught and the evidence is pointing at you? What would happen? So the plan was spoiled by the blackout. So police were on the standby. So the one who ran with the jerrycans, she found the police patrol car outside. So she had to run back with the jerrycans. As she was running back, the lights were coming. So she was spotted. She was among the people who were spotted. So, and just so you know, this was a cowardly act. They stopped because lights have come back. And then we had an emergency meeting. Even teachers who had gone home, and most of the time teachers on Saturdays, it's only the teachers on duty and maybe the ones who have lessons they had planned for that Saturday during preps will come to the school. So they were recalled back, and also police around the compound. Uh, and then it was just awkward. We were silent. The movie we were watching, it was stopped so that the principal and deputy could address whatever had happened. And I never saw, for just after all that fracas, that's when I saw our principal crying while giving her, trying to talk to us. And she told us, "You wanted to kill me and leave my children with who?" Since her husband had passed on a long time ago. And that that was like, my brain was like, okay, some of us don't know what was happening. It was a surprise to us. We were just caught in the crossfire. So we were told, so tomorrow, no, we are not going to do the normal, go to the to mass or to church or to for the Muslim for prayers. We are all in the morning. Immediately we wake up, we'll have a parade. Then we'll disperse to go to where our prayers. So now that tomorrow is Sunday, do our prayers, have our tea, then we'll go back to class. And that Sunday, all teachers were recalled to school. So when we went, we did all that routine. It was so tense. We went back to class and we were told not to speak to anyone. And then immediately we entered the class. All class teachers were given questionnaires and we were told not to speak and not to consult with anyone. Just answer the questionnaire. The questionnaire was about, did you know the strike was organized? Do you know who? And then you don't write your name on that paper. Now that also was keeping us. If you wanted to snitch, teachers know your handwriting, and yeah. Not unless you start writing with, if you're a right-handed person, you start writing with your left so that you can confuse people. It was not you who snitched. So through those questionnaires, the teachers went, had a meeting. Board members also were called, and they went through the questionnaires, and it was decided by evening the people who are involved even if it was just by word of mouth. Some were expelled, some were suspended. And the number of the suspended students was so high. The school was like majority. Even the Form 1 who was sent to our trip to get to get the matches. She was known and she was sent home. And that's when you can decide to do something. High school taught me you can decide to do something with a crowd, but the the backlash and the responsibility only falls on yourself. And there's a song we were like, not a song, but a reminder the teachers kept reminding us that you'll enter that gate, the school gate, as many as you are, but you'll go to your family house door only by yourself, except now when you have a twin sister or a relative, but still it is only going to be you answerable to the things that you've done. So yeah, so that failed strike happened. And it's the we had a lot of freedom before that strike was orchestrated, and then after that we were like, all eyes scrutiny was very high, and we started having morning preps. Before that, morning preps was not compulsory, but after that you be in the class by 5:15 a.m. From 5:15, then you get out of the class at 6:15. So that's 1 hour for morning prep. Then 6:15 to 8 is breakfast and morning chores. Yeah. And that's how we survived from one. And after that, now after the students were suspended. Okay, even the ones who before they were expelled, they were given suspension letters and they were told their cases will be decided by the board members. Now here's the thing: the position of our class from One West was next to the computers lab, and that's where the board members always had their meeting. So when the suspended students were coming back with their parents to plead their case in front of the board, so that the board can decide if they're staying, being given a punishment, or they're being expelled, they go and look for another school. That meeting, that day, I think we didn't have lessons. Our class, we had all, and that's why I'm saying that song of being, whenever you're planning something with a crowd, the responsibility falls on you when you go home. So you orchestrated this strike, it didn't work, you are suspended, you went and told your parent that you are among the living letter has been written that you are orchestrating a strike. You come back to the board, and the board and the teachers, the disciplinarian teachers, have a full file of what you have been doing wrong and what has been said about you and what has been suspected, that how you are you're involved in the strike, and your parent hears some of the things for the first time that you just played. When you went home, you didn't explain the whole situation. Some parents actually reacted and beat their children then and there. We could hear the screams in our class. Our class was just like, who was that? We wait for them to come, and then now they had a disadvantage. Once you leave the computer lab, you had to walk out along a veranda where our class door was, so we'll see who was just been slapped by their parent walking out. And then that's how, when people say, "Ooh, And the way she acts tough, and the way she acts like this in school, then the way she bullies the others. And that's when you know, ee, ooh, ooh, some things are better left unsaid. But yeah, that was my form one. It was eventful. Oh, our form one who was sent the matches ended up dropping out of school. Yeah, and started her family. And there's a time I saw her when I was just going around my business. Mm. Some of the students were expelled after the consultation with the boards, and after they were expelled, we had a reshuffle for dorms so that the people you are comfortable orchestrating the whatever had happened, they were flipped over. And then also the prefects that were previously there, that's when we had an election, and I was the first from one ever to be chosen as a assistant dorms captain, and it was whew, I was happy. I'll never do chores. But then I had that pressure of I I need to be okay. I've always been aggressive, but then now I need to earn the respect of the older students, and stick to whatever I say, and be firm with whatever I say. So yeah, that was Form 1 for me. Form 2, Form 2 I got sick, but I also enjoyed doing going to functions. I got acute pneumonia because of the cold water, bathing with cold water in the morning and evening after sports. We had sports every Monday and Fridays, and PE in between. So the the school was in a valley after the Ngong Hills. In the morning, we'll open the tap water and it will not come out because it's frozen. That's how cold it was. And no hot showers until maybe you have a note from your doctor. So after that, I got acute pneumonia. I got sick for a long time. I stayed home like for more than a month. But before that, the school matron, who was also the school nurse, didn't want me to be given leave out. So she was trying to do drug trial and error. She'll give me painkillers. There's a time she gave me 40 painkillers in one day. It was that bad. And I was bedridden, mind you. And I would request her to go and talk to the principal for me to get a leave out so that I can go and get proper medical attention. She would refuse. It reached a point I had to beg. I had slimmed to the extent that the skirts I used to wear for functions, no functions or special times, you'll wear a little bit tighter, shorter. Yeah, to attract the boys. And that skirt, I wore it, it used to rotate around me. And it was the smallest skirt I had. I had slimmed to the point that my bones, my eye sockets, you could see my eyes sunken into my face. My skin was just gripping to my bones. I was that gone. So when I went home, went to the hospital because it was something to do with my lungs, and the lungs were checked out for the when the x-rays was done. One of the lungs was full with water and the other one was halfway full. So it was just I was just it was just a tiny bit for me to drown in my own lungs. That's how serious it was. That's why right now I hear about students who are dying in school because of medical issues, and I know it's just neglect. If a student says, okay, I know there are some students you need to weigh in if the student is lying about their medical issue because maybe they want to uh just go home for a visit, or they are homesick or something, they come up with something. But when it reached to me that I've lost weight so drastic and you're still not giving me a leave out, it's sad that there's a student who passed on in school because of such such a case. Later on, when I left high school, I hear about the story. I don't know if it's true. I've not confirmed it yet, so don't hold me to that. Um, so yeah, I stayed home. No, I went home, and my mom, when we did the leave out, I went home on Sunday at around noon, and the leave out is written I should be back to school on Monday, the next day, by 5. So when we went on Monday, my mom's work was on Monday, so I will wait for her to finish her work. Then we go to the hospital. We went to the chest clinic in Nairobi. It's called Rhodes. It's actually the major chest clinic, actually the only public chest clinic in Nairobi that deals with issues about breathing system, about TB, about pneumonia, about bronchitis, about anything that has to do with the breathing system. So when we were on the waiting, and a lot of people that time had been sick, I'll hear somebody hacking, like coughing, like the lungs want to come out of their mouth, and others were coughing blood. I even turned to my mom, I think I'm not sick. Because this is, whew, it was scary. But so when we did the test and then the x-rays showed the how my lungs were at that time and why I'm even coughing, like I have whooping cough. We were told we also need to do tests of the sepum every Monday and Wednesdays just to clear me that I don't have TB. And then my mom, after that, then I was given medicine that was supposed to drain the water out of my air sacs. My Without warning, the medicine also was draining water out of every system in my body. And when we went to have lunch after the hospital visit, my mom asked me, are you going to school today? I'm like, I stayed in bed for a whole month as you're paying school fees, thinking your child is studying, and they never told you. No, I'm going to school when I am satisfied that my body has recovered. So I stayed home for 1 month. And once I went back, mind you, I've not been studying like now approximately 2 months. Once I went back, exams happened. And I was the top student for my maths exam. Even students were like, why are you studying at home? And no, I was watching TV throughout. I'm like, okay, that's weird. And that's why I'm saying, like, people are different. You might study, and you might be cramming, and yet when it comes to applying, things are different. So, yeah. So, Form 2 majorly was the sickness, and and the major trip for prefect's trip for training by the UN, because of the high chances of strikes of schools, so that how to diffuse the striking issues in Kenya. But that time we had a lot of schools burnt down and students losing their lives in such strikes, and it was wow. That's when I met my high school, I'll say, boyfriend, but not boyfriend. Yeah, we were a couple, but not fully. Yeah. Form 3, oh, Form 2 also we had a trip. Like every year in our school, in our during our time in high school, we had a trip because of our teacher, our class teachers. They pushed for it. And the other classes were starting to also like, no, why not our teachers, they're not speaking up for what we want. Also, we want trips. So trips are organized now regularly, just because our class teacher pushed for it. Now every time, Form 1 there's always baby's day out. Form 2 was for what? I think natural thing. Then Form 3 we went to Baringo and Bogoria Lake, the lakes, where we have hot springs, and also where flamingos go and breed. And also it was also educational because we visited the Pekeria irrigation scheme, which is near there. And then also went to Lake Nakuru. We were to go to Menengai Crater, but we finished late, so we didn't go there. But the first day we went to Lake Elementaita in Naivasha, the geothermal plant for Kengen to make energy, natural energy, with the hot springs burnt by the magma. Magma. The person who was explaining to us was saying magma. Every time it was like, oh God, here we go again. But it was fun. Then Form 4, the only trip we had in Form 4, because that's the time you're supposed to study a lot because of the oncoming examinations for finishing high school. But the only trip we had was for the set books that we read for literature class. And we'll go to the theater in Nairobi and watch the set books being acted out, so that at least it can imprint your mind if you are a student who needs to, like for me. And even my class teacher used to, don't be like me, don't be like Mumbi, looking at the book looking at her, putting nothing in her head. Yeah, it was an insult, but not everyone got it. I took it in the sense that I only learn by listening and doing practicals. Actually, that's how most of the things uh, schooling I've done. If a teacher explains it, I grasp it. But if you tell me to do research study, you've lost me. Yeah, my high school was awesome. Even up to Form 4, I went to all functions. There's no, like, every weekend when we had functions, and sometimes they will collide, I'll be in any list without even requesting it. I'll just find myself there. One, because I love dancing. Two, I was social and friendly to everyone. But yeah, but I was also cautious and still studied, even though I used to study a lot of novels instead of books. Novels I'll do, but telling me to do theory, reading, that was a tough one. That's all for today. I've rambled enough. That was my high school experience. It was amazing. I will not exchange it for anyone, because I gained friends, I gained sisters for life after that. Some of them we're still in contact up to date. We're still friends. We still hang out. Yeah, and some, like, circumstances also try to make you know other people. And some of them are my big supporters. They watch. I love you. Until next time. Bye bye bye. Today there was no comment. People are just watching.